Well, good morning, everyone. Here we are again on another day of Democrat shutdown. So I wanted to come out and just share with you some thoughts, answer some questions, tell you, I guess, reiterate the simple truths of how we got here. Those truths have been obscured just a bit because the Democrats are in a relentless effort to spin the facts, but it's always good when the facts and the evidence are on your side. And I don't want you to listen to the arguments of politicians. If you're watching at home, I want you to look at the real facts. And I'm going to try to here in a very abbreviated summary manner to present those to you. And the facts are very clear. Okay, so the first fact is by way of reminder, how did we get here? Why is Washington tied into a knot right now? Well, I became Speaker almost 2 years ago, and I was frustrated, as most rank-and-file members of Congress are, frustrated about how Congress really doesn't work that well for the American people. That's why people are frustrated about it. We don't spend money responsibly here. We haven't for many years. And the reason for that is because typically, for the annual funding of the government, it's done in a back room. Literally, there's a deal made by the top 4 leaders in Congress, and that's hoisted upon the members, usually at the end of the year, right before a holiday, in an omnibus spending bill. Sometimes the bills are thousands of pages long, and it's always said that few members have fully read it or understood it. That's largely true because they weren't involved in the process. So when I became Speaker, I've been doggedly determined to make this House and the Senate work again, to do right by the American people, to get the process, to rebuild the muscle memory, to get back to the way it is supposed to work. And what does that mean? It means that Congress is supposed to carefully deliberate over 12 separate appropriations bills every year. Why? Because we divide the spending of the taxpayers' funds into 12 categories so that everybody can go through that. And all the elected members, the duly elected representatives of the people, can come here and have a debate and a discussion. We do that through the Appropriations Committee, they're the specialists on it, the members of the House and Senate who work on it around the clock, 365, every day of the year. And then they put together a product. It goes to the full body in the House and then the full body in the Senate, and they work on that together, and they come up with the most efficient and effective way that they can build consensus around to spend the taxpayers' funds. Well, we started that process back this year, and I'm so proud to tell you that we're rebuilding the muscle memory. It's like pushing a boulder uphill, but we've got it done. And we worked 12 separate appropriations bills through the House Appropriations Committee. I mean, they worked hard in a bipartisan fashion, Republicans and Democrats. They worked on it steadily. We got 3 of those bills on the floor. We debated them on the floor. We passed them on the House floor. And we sent that over to the Senate. Meanwhile, the Senate passed 3 of their own bills off the floor. That hasn't happened around here in many years. And all of that process that I just described takes a lot of time and a lot of work and energy and effort. And our appropriators, while they were working in good faith, they ran out of time. Why? Because the end of the fiscal year is September 30th, not December 31. And so the clock was just running out. So what we did, because Republicans are in charge of both houses right now, is the responsible thing. Leader Thune in the Senate and I in the House, we sat down with our appropriators and we said, let's come up with a simple stopgap measure to keep the lights on and keep the government open so that appropriators can finish this very healthy process for the people they represent. And so we put together a very simple, clean, continuing resolution. Why do we say it's clean? Because there's nothing to it. It's 24 pages. It's the bare minimum. It just says, keep the status quo, which, by the way, for all my Democrat friends, is the Biden-era policies and spending that we haven't been able to fix yet. We're in the process of getting appropriations done to repair all that, but we needed more time to do it. So in a bipartisan fashion, Democrats and Republicans got together and said, you know what? Fine, let's extend this until November 21st. The Democrats in the House agreed to that. That was the date. We put that bill on the floor. We passed it out of the House in bipartisan fashion. And we sent it over to the Senate. Well, now we expected, I thought, that Chuck Schumer would do what he's always done. The man has served in Congress 3/4 of my life, I think. And he has given impassioned speeches over the year, most recently in March of this year, that you have to fund continuing resolutions. You can't shut the government down because it's irresponsible and painful for the American people. He was right in March. He is not right today, which leads me to fact number 2. Fact number 1 was how we got here. Fact number 2 is why are we in this mess? Why did Chuck Schumer change his tune And why is he now saying exactly the opposite of what he said 6 months ago? A picture's worth 10,000 words, okay? This is a copy of the Washington Examiner. Zoom in on that, all right? If you can't see this at home, I just had this on my desk on a big stack, and I found it. This is published March of 2025, March 26th exactly. It's a picture of Chuck Schumer looking very upset, very angry, walking out with a box, and all the House Democrats depicted their character, saying that he's an enemy of democracy. Why is he an enemy of democracy? Because the far left base in the Democrat Party has turned on Chuck Schumer because he did the responsible thing, get the lights on. Why? Because they want him to show a fight against President Trump. So Schumer doesn't want to be in this situation again. So he said, my gosh, he got his staff together and he got the far left wing of the party. He said, what do you want? What do you want me to fight on? So they created a red herring. A red herring is a distraction. They decided that they would pick a fight on health care. Well, let me look right into the camera and tell you very clearly, Republicans are the ones concerned about health care. Republicans are the party working around the clock every day to fix health care. This is not talking points for us. We've done it. A big part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, was to fix health care. Health care is broken in America. It's too expensive. The quality of care needs to rise. We need more access for more people, and we have lots of ideas to do that. But that issue is for debate in the next 3 months. It always was. We have members working on that. The tax credit, the subsidy you've heard about that expires December 31st, there's a lot of thoughtful debate and discussion that has already been going on about that and will go on about that. But that's a December 31 issue. So Chuck Schumer is scrambling. He has to have an issue. None of their policies are very popular. So they decided to lob onto health care, and he decided to claim to all of you that that is the issue with government funding. It is not. Those are two totally separate things. The clean continuing resolution would simply keep the lights on so that the members in the House and Senate can have those debates on health care. We were always planning, and we have lots of ideas on the table on how to fix it, but we don't yet have consensus on it because it's very complicated. We have time to do it. The month of October is a critically important time for us to get the House and Senate working on that very issue. But they're delaying it because they needed a red herring. So in his desperation, we get to fact number 3. In his desperation, they decided to create the red herring. They decided to claim that this is all about health care, which the September funding issue never was. That's a December policy issue. He tried to create it as a September funding issue. And in his desperation, they hastily filed an outrageous counter-proposal. It is a wild wish list of big government liberal nonsense that we can't do. Their priorities that they crammed into this. Now remember, a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure, the CR, that we passed out of the House in bipartisan fashion was sent over. And Chuck Schumer filed a counter-proposal. Now this is his words, not mine. These are not Republican talking points. These are the facts. 2 exhibits real quick, because I've shown you before. This is page 57, an excerpt of his bill, section 2141, where you see that right there that they want to repeal the health subtitle of the Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill, the Republicans got signed into law July 4th. The Working Families Tax Cut, we're so proud of that because it has so many amazing things for all the American people, a marquee piece of legislation. But among the most important were the reforms that we did to health care. Why? Because Medicaid, for example, is broken. Medicaid doesn't work well. It's underfunded, and it was full of fraud, waste, and abuse. And we took our opportunity to fix that, and we did. So what did we do? We went into Medicaid, and we said, we got to stop the waste and abuse. We got to make sure that illegal aliens are not on Medicaid. Medicaid is intended for U.S. citizens only, not illegals who break our law and come over the border. And we've got to make sure that young, able-bodied men who do not have dependents are working and not riding the wagon. Work is good for individuals. It's good for the communities they live in. It's good for their own well-being and for the people around them. And so we said, don't sit on your couch and play video games. By the way, also not a talking point. There was an AEI study, I think one of the organizations that polled this, and most of these young men who are not working are sitting around literally playing video games. Get back to work. So we put that in the law. And the big thing was making sure that an estimate